diversions that are taking place due to making Mumbai a better city. We got a little late. Really apologies. We're not usual late Latifs. Um, Thanks, Aanchal and Chef Vishal. That was a great introduction. I'm very humbled. Firstly, thank you for thinking about us. I think we go beyond just being friends. I think we, like what we both do, appreciate what we both do. I think being good, kind, humble human beings is our first mission in life, our first purpose and goal in life. And I've really never been in the eye of media. I'm still called Malaika when my name is Malaika. And I'm kind of like to be being unknown still, right? I mean, what's in a name? But yeah, I still can walk around and no one recognizes me, and I love that. So I do have a lot of my privacy. Yeah, so I think it's quite easy. You have a choice whether you want to be in the eye of the storm of media, however you want to name it, or you can still have your privacy, because there's a thin line, right, between how much you want to share of your life and how much you're okay and willing to let people know. And I think we as humans, I think all of us are capable of doing it. There's nothing special about it, or there's no textbook or no kind of, oh, I've got it all right. I'm still learning. I make my mistakes. And, there's fun about everything. I mean, all of us are celebrities in our own rights, right? So, yeah.
I think you're making it sound a lot less effort than it really is, because it is a lot of effort. It is a lot of effort to be a power couple like this and still have your own space and still, really support each other. So
I'm humble.
You are,
well,
very much.
Firstly, thank you, Vishal. Thank you, Aanchal. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. It's a real honor and a pleasure to be here. International Women's Day, so we were just having some chitter-chatter on the way to the elevator, Vishal and me. And we said, do we still live in a 50-50 world where, it's husband 50 and wife 50? Or is it 60-40? I said, man, after kids, even if it's 90-10, it's really good. Because, quite honestly, I think one of the most important things which I think women are not given enough credit for is something called domestic engineering, okay? And I can tell you that if the house and the soul and the heart of the household is not in its right place, I don't think any of us have the guts to go and achieve anything we want out there in the real world. So I want to thank my wife for tolerating me, because, it's a bit of a paradox actually to be in show business and at the same time not be ostentatious, you have to, be in the limelight, you have to, walk with panache, you've got to talk with confidence, you've got to know your stuff, but at the same time, that's the vulnerability that you're always protecting when you're outside. And it's all right to be vulnerable, it's all right to learn, it's all right to make mistakes. I think Mali and me, we were on our way here, and I was reading through what Aanchal had so sweetly written, 30 years. I was like, Mali, I don't feel that old, man. 30 years, it's just blink of an eye and it's just past. And of course, there have been many speed breakers, and I think that's the lovely stuff of life, the fact that you do have your arguments, you do have your disagreements, and at the same time, we sort of realize that we are a team, and there are certain verticals that I'm very good at, and there are certain verticals she's very good at, and we're just great sounding boards of each other. So thank you for tolerating me, Malaika.
And thank you for saving yourselves, because when he said 30 years, I started looking at myself in my little mirror and I said, is it time for Botox? Is it time for fillers? And he's like,
not at all. Not on you.
I would detest that. Not that I have any issue with it, but
you almost don't recognize half the celebrities and their recent pictures. Vis-a-vis what they used to look earlier. I had this
Sorry.
question prepared. I'm going to put it away because I'm really enjoying this and we are just going to go as it goes. Childhood sweethearts almost. From a relationship perspective, a partnership perspective, I hate to say the word relationship and more partnership, how have you guys kept it together for so many years? And how have you kept the spark alive? The romance,
before
the
he
love?
starts talking over me, I'd just like to say,
Sure.
I think what's most important in any relationship is, and I tell people this, and correct me if I'm wrong, when we use the quote, love at first sight, right? I think it's just not about your spouse, your lover, your partner. I think it's about your friends, your chosen family. I mean, I think what love at first sight meant is that, that feeling you get in your stomach, it's not about butterflies. It's about feeling comfort. It's about feeling joy. It's about feeling happiness. And, somewhere where you know that, here somewhere I can just be myself. And, here's someone who's my mirror. Here's someone who checks me, who, is there when I'm down and out. We all are, talking about mental health and are we addressing it. So I think somewhere, I always tell this to my younger friends, and today I'm known in my group, I have friends who are over 50, some of them, and they say, Malaika, you're this little old soul. They call me Dadi Ma, by the way, because, that's what I tell people, that, find someone, it's not about butterflies in your stomach, it's about someone you just want to go, phew, finally.
I can be myself.
I don't know about you, but I got butterflies in my stomach when I saw her. She just ignored me for the first couple of days. But when I really, contrary to the belief of love at first sight, all my sisters had love marriages, and they used to be on these phone calls for hours. And I promised myself, I said, I'm never going to fall in love because it's just too much effort. And before you know it, I was at Cody, and I see this lady, her back is towards me, and she had lovely brown hair. And I was listening to a song called U2, When the Streets Have No Name. And when she turned, it was like a Halo shampoo ad, for me at least. And I was zapped. I just felt that, that's the girl, man. That's the girl
Amazing.
I feel I can visualize myself be with for the rest of my life. And I had no idea who she was. I nudged a friend of mine. I said, hey buddy, who is she? He looks at me, he's like, don't forget it. She's dating somebody. I said, I didn't ask you whether she's dating somebody. I said, who is she? So then he goes, okay, she's Malaika, this and that. So yeah, for me, it was definitely, I have to say, very, very hard to get your attention. I had to I'll tell you a very interesting story, a very, very interesting story. So by the fourth time of trying to propose to her, I had almost given up. And I had kind of told a friend of mine who was a common friend, I said, can you introduce us, in some sort of way, because probably I don't have the courage enough, or she's not, giving me the vibe, or she's giving me the vibe, but then, women, you can't really get them all the time, what vibes they're giving. So we both were in environmental science class, and she was, I was in environmental science class, and I was walking towards environmental science class, and she says hi to me, and I just freeze, because I'm thinking, did she say hi to me, or did she say hi to somebody behind me? So I looked behind, and there was nobody behind. I was like, shit. It's like she said hi to me. Now she's coming out of class, and I'm going into that class, and I'm doodling away, thinking, I'm just telling myself, man, such an idiot, such an idiot, such an idiot. And then all of a sudden, somebody knocks on the door, and this friend of hers, I didn't know that it was a friend of hers, called Ayaka. She says, oh, there's a phone call for Zayed from his father in the principal's office. At that time, of course, we didn't have mobile phones. So I literally came out of class, and there was a shoe flower, and I did like a Shah Rukh Khan to myself, you know, like I picked up that shoe flower and I said, she loves me not. She loves me not. And I'm walking towards this principal's office and then I hear a voice. And she says, hi. And I look and it's her and she's sitting like a boss lady, you know, like literally like a boss lady. She's sitting out there and I said, hi. She's like, what are you doing? I said, I just have a phone call from my father. I'm going to take it and I'm going to come back immediately. She's like, no, that wasn't your father. That was me. I was like, whoa.
Yeah, baby.
Whoa. Now, you know, that's the kind of lady I want to be with. You know, that's the kind of girl I want to be with. So, yeah, that happened. And I think quite an interesting journey, like, kind of took place post that.
Time to make a movie on it.
Goes home and takes up the studies of her student child, and then a cribbing husband sometimes, maybe a not so supportive mother-in-law sometimes, and continues to do the same day after day. So truly, those are the champions. And those are the stories that we need to be highlighting. The common Indian woman who multitasks, triple tasks, and sometimes does even 5 tasks together, which none of the men can ever do. So I salute every single one of them, and my limited piece of advice from my journey, and I was speaking at Times of India in Delhi, and at the cost of repeating it, I will repeat it here. I started my career in fashion when I was all of 18 years, and I always wanted to enter politics and public life, which happened much later. Earned my name, fame, money, hi Parul, at the age of 18, and then went on to enter politics much later after I was married and I had my daughter at 30. I had my son after I entered politics, and I always joke with my husband. I said that, you know, if I was married to a Dalit, an OBC, a scheduled caste, scheduled tribe, politics would have been much easier for me. But having said that, to come home to a confident family that gives you the opportunity to also excel. Ruchita knows my family. So many people here know that you need to acknowledge that.
There are so many blood tests, there are sonographies available to gauge your ovarian reserve, your egg quality and quantity. So after the age of 30, if a woman measures her egg quality and quantity by these annual tests, she can definitely not miss the bus, and she can go for procedures like egg freezing or embryo freezing, and that's how she can even preserve her fertility. Later on, when she does get married, if she can't conceive by the natural route, the frozen eggs or embryos serve as a backup insurance where they can be used and she can complete her family.
Akhish, I'd also like to understand that there is a big stigma attached with egg freezing, and it's not something that's openly discussed. We will come back and jump right in and take a women's perspective on everything, but could you also kind of break that down for us, and you know, why women feel reluctant to go for such procedures?
Yeah, definitely there is. The stigma is more or less disappeared now, but you know, the idea of society is that if you go back to the earlier trends, everyone feels a couple should get married and should conceive naturally. But it doesn't happen for everyone. Everyone can't get married at the the appropriate age, what is there in society norms. People have different plans, everyone has a different time zone in life. There could be someone who's unmarried and successful at 35 and someone who's married and miserable at 35 with kids. So definitely there should be no stigma, there should be more openness about this. If someone has the facility to freeze their eggs, there should be more awareness and more openness in the families to do this. If somebody has a daughter who's doing very well in her career, who's around 34, 36 and is not married, doesn't have the right partner, what is the harm if she goes and freezes her eggs? If she finds the perfect partner at the age of 39, 42, so what? She can use those eggs that were frozen at 34, 35. A woman's eggs remain as young as the time she froze them. So it's definitely a very good option for a woman to use, and there's no harm. See, a man can conceive, can help a woman conceive even in his late 40s. There is something called as andropause, just like menopause, but that's much more later and not so pronounced. So a man can get married at 40 and become a father, but a woman after the age of 35 might face a few challenges conceiving naturally. So there's no harm if there's awareness and there's existence of technology where you can freeze your eggs. And you know, the whole process has been blown out of proportion on how to use it, how it is done, and the injections and the procedures. But it is rather simple, Aanchal, now. There's so many good fertility centers. The injections aren't intramuscular injections like are you imagining an injection. They are simple subcutaneous injections given in the fat in the thigh or the abdomen. You can even self-inject yourself. Simple sonographies can measure the egg quality, the egg size, and you can have an egg retrieval procedure, and your eggs can be frozen for 5, 7, even 10 years.
So Ankesh, I'm sure that our audience would also have a lot of questions on this, but since we are discussing reproductive health of women, a lot of women, I'm sure, in this room in terms of also age gap, are the very feared and dreaded menopause. So can you shed some light on this whole peri-menopausal phase of women and how we should combat this?
Yes, your second part of the question was so nice. So it's not the menopause that fears anyone. That's eventually going to happen. So the average age of menopause is 47 to 51. But there's a little difficult phase around 5, 7, 10 years before that called pre-menopause. So pre-menopause, actual menopause and menopause के बाद जो event है, that's called entire perimenopause. So pre-menopause can start as early as...
Well, I think first I need to congratulate Aanchal. And I need to congratulate her because of picking up, having the strength to pick up these events and organizing it on these subjects. Because I think these subjects are very important to break the barriers. Most of these subjects are in 4 walls, and I think they need to come out. And they need to come out in the open, and everyone needs to be made aware of their rights. They need to be more aware in terms of what exists, and opportunity exists for all.
Right.
And you need to be there to take it on. It's never what if and why. It's always let me try.
Yes.
And,
Very well said.
You need to move ahead with that, and build your own nest and build your own space in this universe, because it gives an opportunity to all. And I think first of all I would like to thank Zayed and Malaika to come here and remove their time. They've come from a long distance, and that's very sweet of them, and thanks so much for coming here. And I think after hearing them, the way they have bonded over the years, the last 30 years of their relationship and their family, and the way Malaika has held the family, taken that forward, the way Zayed has taken forward the legacy, I think it's beautiful. I think these complementing roles, if understood by all in relationships, if this understanding is understood by all, I think the world is a much better place to live.
Yes,
this is
and
true.
I think they're true examples for that. So
yes, it's true.
So that's how that's all
I just want to say, and I say this to people, there are 4 C's in life: compromise, communication, comprehension, and compassion.
Wonderful.
Absolutely.
Beautiful. Beautifully said. Beautifully said.
बस खुश रहना भाई.
Thank you.
और हर चीज़
Thank you.
जो भी कर रहे हो ज़िंदगी में, don't expect to do wonders every day.
Yeah.
Do small things every day and make big differences.
गलतियाँ होंगी, but you have to learn and
Yes,
grow.
yes.
You have to learn and grow.
Absolutely. Thank you
Thank
so
you.
much.
Thank you. Thank you.
नमस्कार.
Namaste.
Thank you.
देखिए, मैं बेहद खुश हूँ कि आंचल इस मुद्दे को उठा रही है कि जो कुछ भी हम असल में बात नहीं कर सकते हैं और ज़रा अजीब लगता है जब हम बात करते हैं, ये सब चीज़ों कल की बातें हैं, और जो आने वाला कल है उसमें विमेन को आधा हिस्सा लेना ही पड़ेगा, क्योंकि यार हम लोग ना एक कहते हैं पेट्रियार्कल सोसाइटी में, देखो एनिमल किंगडम को देखो तो पेट्रियार्कल सोसाइटी है, इंसेक्ट किंगडम को देखो तो मेट्रियार्कल सोसाइटी है, वहाँ पे सब क्वीन ही चलता है, क्वीन बी, क्वीन एंट, सब कुछ. तो शायद नज़रिया बदलना पड़ेगा, शायद हमें अपने आप से सवाल करने पड़ेंगे कि ये क्या हम अपने आप से उम्मीद कर पाएंगे कि नहीं. तो मैं आंचल और विशाल कलांत्री को बेहद कंग्रेचुलेशंस देना चाहूँगा कि इन सब चीज़ों को वो आगे सामने ले आ रहे हैं सबके सामने, क्योंकि कभी कभी ऐसे होता है कि ऐसे बातें घर में बहुत एक बिटरनेस पैदा होता है उसमें, तो ये नहीं होना चाहिए. जितना खुल के बात कर सकता है आदमी और फैमिली, उतना ही अच्छा है भविष्य के लिए. तो बस मैं उनको बहुत बहुत हार्दिक
Thank you.
शुभकामनाएं देना चाहूँगा कि ये ऐसे इंटरनेशनल वुमेंस डे पे ऐसे मुद्दों को उठा रहे हैं और बाकी सबके हाथ में क्या बताएं।
आपसे भी जानना चाहेंगे कि कई बार क्या स्पेशल शादी के बाद मैन ओवर पावर करते हैं वुमेंस को, या बहुत सी और दिक्कतें होती है जहाँ पे एक महिला को बहुत ज़्यादा साथ नहीं दिया जाता, सपोर्ट नहीं दिया जाता है। ऐसे में इस तरह की इवेंट से कितना कुछ सीखने को मिलता है, कितना कुछ कॉन्फिडेंस आता है?
Yes, I think बहुत important है इस I'll speak in English, please excuse me. I think it's very important that we as women, we as people, not just men or women, bring forward these thoughts, because there is always, it's not about poverty, it's not about wealth or any richness. It's all about how much knowledge you have and how.
My heart, and I wanted to share information on these subjects. And with Zayed and Malaika, we recently met them, and I fell in love with Mali, and I had a beautiful conversation with her about spirituality, life, and I am very fascinated by this. Like she said, even my Instagram feed is only coaches, all about life, and that's all I see. I have no clue. Ambani wedding has happened and gone, and I don't know what a lot. I have no idea who's wearing what, who's gone for which wedding. I'm clueless. I live in my own world.
Yes.
And I really, really wanted to have this conversation with them. And Zayed I've known from my Arts in Motion days, and I remember that he had come to support the children for autism at that time. And even back then, I was very, very impressed by his articulation and his thought process. And I'm so glad I invited you today, because I'm taking home so much myself. Thank you so much for being here.
Thank you. Thank you.
आज के इवेंट से जो इंस्पायर होकर जा रही हैं, उनके लिए क्या कहना चाहेंगे?
मैं यही कहना चाहूँगी कि हमें एज विमेन, नॉलेज इज़ पावर, नॉलेज इज़ एवरीथिंग. हम सब करते हैं, हम सब कर सकते हैं, बट वी ऑल्सो देर आर अ लॉट ऑफ स्टिग्मास वी नीड टू ब्रेक. जैसे हमने एग फ्रीजिंग के बारे में बात करी, मेनोपॉज के बारे में बात करी. A lot of young girls, a lot of women and older women who are young girls who are dealing family planning, and older women who are undergoing menopause. ये बहुत सारी चीज़ें हैं जो हम अपने फैमिली में डिस्कस नहीं करते, या फैमिली अच्छा ये करना है अभी आपको, अच्छा एग फ्रीजिंग करना है, अच्छा मेनोपॉज में you're going hormonal. But it is medical, it is scientific, it is not something that is just mood swings for us that are just coming from a temperament. And ये सब एक convey करना, just so we have an understanding of where we are coming from and why we are doing what we are doing, is very important to give this information. So इसलिए इस panel discussion का महत्व यही था कि information is everything in terms of.
Thank you. I'm so humbled that I'm here today, because you are giving people the opportunity to hear many of us, speak about everything that can happen behind the doors, in front of us, and don't let it affect your affect your courage, don't let it affect your bravery, and keep striving and keep going, because you can't make everyone happy. You will upset someone along the way, and your philosophy might not fit somebody else's, and it's okay. We just carry on, be strong. It's not about one will say, oh, you're privileged, so you can say that. It's not about that. I see many women, who empower themselves just by not feeling afraid. Fear, fear factor. Don't be afraid. It's okay. Have a voice.
Yeah. So finally, your point of view, मैम इतना कुछ कर रही है और कितना महिलाओं को मोटिवेट कर, जो बहुत ज़रूरी है आज के.
And also in terms of literacy, financial literacy, that a lot of us, and I'm ashamed to say that I'm one of them, that as much as I have accomplished and built properties and done everything, I still lean on my father, my husband for investment decisions.